He sells a sword at a flea market and earns $20,000. He invites him to eat at a fancy restaurant and pays him back for the script he had given. One night, he lets her drive the red car from his dream. Hello everyone. Today we will recap movie Super Me. Sang-yu dreams of being in the subway, but a demon arrives and kills him. He wakes up to write, but is denied food by his landlord. He remembers visiting various experts on dreams, but none provided concrete answers. He stops at a food stand and asks for a crepe with no eggs, but the crepe man adds an egg as a free treat. Sang-yu struggles to find a solution to his dreams, as he has no rent money. Despite his efforts, he struggles to find a solution to his dreams. He observes the cafe across the street, where Hwa-er, the girl he has a crush on, works as he waits for his food to finish. Years ago, as he and his buddies were hanging out at a pub, he met her while she was performing with her band. Her voice was so lovely when she sang that he couldn't stop thinking about her. When Sang-yu's crepe is finished, he settles down to savor it, when his manager, Sang-ge, unexpectedly startles him. Sang-yu begins to flee and loses his crepe along the way, but he is too weak to travel very far before Sang-ge catches up with him. He takes him to a restaurant and chastises him for not honoring his contract by not turning in a script on time and forcing him to watch while he eats. Sang-yu struggles with insomnia, but Sang-ge doesn't listen and demands a script completed within 10 days. His apartment is locked and he is kicked out by his landlord. He tries writing in a cafe but falls asleep. A demon appears, chains Sang-yu's neck, and bangs his head on the table. He wakes up in the morning, after his dream self dies, and discovers his laptop has been stolen. Sang-yu's life is disrupted by his insomnia and his landlord's actions. Sang-yu loses his work tool and struggles to distinguish nightmares from reality. He sends a message to Sang-ge, who tells him to kill himself to reunite with his parents. Sang-yu chooses the roof of a building across from Hwa-er's cafe, ready to jump. A crepe man offers him free food, and they discuss different views on death and dreams. Sang-yu decides to tell himself, "I'm dreaming," to escape nightmares. He stays on the roof, watching Hwa-er until nightfall, then sells his cell phone to buy food. He goes to a convenience store, where he considers stealing some things, but changes his mind when he notices he's being watched. The food he purchases is eaten outside the store, where Sang-yu is shocked to be suddenly approached by Hwa-er, who shows concern for him. This is too good to be true, and Sang-yu quickly sees why. Hwa-er is the demon, who starts pushing him against the glass. This, to the store clerk, looks like Sang-yu is having some kind of panic attack. Sang-yu is picked up by the demon, who then tosses him through the window while stabbing him with his sword. Recalling the crepe man's instruction and reminding himself that he is dreaming, Sang-yu hangs onto the blade and manages to wake up in the middle of being tossed. He's falling through the broken glass in real life too, but instead of getting stabbed, he somehow finds himself holding the demon's sword. Sang-yu, a man in a dream, is a man who spends his time at the park, examining his sword and ensuring he is not dreaming again. He sells a sword at a flea market and earns $20,000. He spends the money on a new computer, a nice restaurant, and a fancy hotel. At night, he takes sleeping pills and waits for his dream to occur. In the dream, a demon appears, chasing him with a giant gold axe, causing injuries. After a few hits, Sang-yu grabs the axe and says, "I'm dreaming." Sang-yu wakes up with a weapon and no wounds, selling an axe at a pawn shop. He buys clothes and a new car and spends the night drinking with women. He admires the antiques and waits for the demon to arrive. In the dream, he is attacked by a demon with a firearm, leading to his death. Instead of leaving the job unfinished, he swallows a sleeping pill and returns 2 antiques to professional antique dealers who deal with wealthy collectors. Sang-yu is approached by Sang-ge, who asks him about his success. He invites him to eat at a fancy restaurant and pays him back for the script he had given him. The next day, he enters Hwa-er's cafe and asks her why she is selling the cafe. She explains that she has no clients and the shop only creates debt. Later, Sang-yu gets drunk while having dinner with Sang-ge, who wants to know the secret to his success. Sang-yu buys Hwa-er's cafe and shares the earnings but covers the losses. Hwa-er expresses suspicions about Sang-yu's desire for more than just money. He regularly engages in dream adventures, learns to control his powers and fight demons, and later sends Sang-ge to pay people on the streets, filling Hua-er's cafe with clients. He's also left a bag of money for the crepe man as a thank you for the times he shared a free meal with him. After the shop closes, Sang-yu goes for a walk with Hua-er, who guesses based on only a few words that he's a scriptwriter. Sang-yu begins to walk her home every day after work, and one night he lets her drive the red car from his dream, which he tells her is for her. Such fortune makes her assume he's a very famous scriptwriter. While she drives through the night, Sang-yu remembers the day he met her. After her show, he saw her crying after a fight with her ex, and afterwards, he followed her to the movies a couple of times. Sang-yu takes Hua-er to the movies, but she wonders when they'll see a movie he wrote. To avoid being caught, Sang-yu writes a script for a movie and gives it to Sang-ge to read while he dreams. He dreams of being in bed with many copies of Hua-er, forcing himself to wake up crying. They plan to sell the script to a movie company, offering them money to hire stars and make a huge success. They create a special dinner event to commemorate him, taking Hua-er as his +1. A special presentation is made up, claiming he wrote many successful movies but didn't take credit for them because he wanted to travel and see the world. In a dream, Sang-yu discovers a monk meditating, and his hand disintegrates when he tries to remove his belt. The demon doesn't show up, and the treasure and the monk disintegrate too. Sang-yu takes Hua-er to the roof and shows her a fireworks show he prepared for her. He promises to never let her disappear again. Sang-yu practices a confession, but suddenly, he sees 2 smoking black lines on his skin. He ignores a party with Sang-ge and goes to bed alone. In the dream, he appears in a tall, empty building with a mysterious figure waiting on the balcony. He discovers it's a version of his older self that is now disintegrating. Sang-yu wakes up with a new scar on his shoulder, matching a demon's previous wound. He seeks advice from a crepe man, but is kidnapped by a van. He finds himself in an abandoned building surrounded by a criminal gang led by Chiang-ge. He agrees to pay 10 million and calls Sang-ge to bring the money. However, Chiang-ge's men steal the money and Sang-ge, who Chiang-ge uses to negotiate. Sang-yu takes the group back to his apartment, where he shows them his hidden room with his antiques. Chiang-ge tries to make Sang-yu confess, but Hua-er arrives. Sang-yu dumps her there to get her to leave for her safety. Upon her arrival, one of the thugs captures her and takes her to the same spot where Sang-yu is kept. Chiang-ge teases Sang-yu about lying, which is met with disapproval from his men. As punishment, Chiang-ge beats him up while Sang-ge secretly wakes up. Hua-er kicks him in self-defense, and Sang-ge uses a vase to hit the man holding her down. Sang-yu bites the thug holding him and escapes, but gets stabbed first. Sang-ge sacrifices himself by staying behind and distracting the thugs while Sang-yu and Hua-er escape. One of the thugs captures Sang-yu and Hua-er upstairs, beating them up and tossing them around without caring. They pass out, and Sang-yu finds himself in mysterious ruins covered in a black substance. He touches a glowing door arch and starts seeing a flashback of his life, including real life and dreams. He walks to a giant crystal wall, hitting it repeatedly as he repeats, "I'm dreaming," until he passes out from blood loss. Suddenly, his body transforms into a demon, and he hits the wall with a machete. In these versions, he hits his landlord and Sang-ge for not being nicer to him. When the wall breaks, the demon comes out into Sang-yu's living room, where he kills all the thugs without hesitation. He then comes after Sang-yu, ready to kill him, but mumbles, "I'm dreaming," and all the antiques he brought from dreams disappear. Sang-yu falls unconscious again, and when he wakes up, he finds himself back on the night outside the convenience store. Hua-er finds him and remembers him from the concert, so she takes him to her place to give her some real food. She tells him she read a story of his in a magazine and thinks it was very good, and he just needs a bit of luck to make a breakthrough. Hua-er offers Sang-yu a job at her cafe, causing him to cry. Later, she gives him a new laptop for writing. Sang-yu meets Sang-ge at a restaurant to ask for his money back, as he can't write on demand. Sang-ge turns down the money and gives him more in return for selling one of Sang-yu's old scripts. Sang-yu covers their bill. Later, content with his life, Sang-yu visits a crepe man to order food. The man gives him his money and shows him a scar on his stomach, as he used to have the same power and learned the importance of a humble life. As Sang-yu listens to his story, the ruins from his last dream appear, and it's revealed that a new demon has been following him since he reappeared at a convenience store.